Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. And thank you for shrinking as I speak. Where the hell are you guys? You were just about 6 of you, and it's now whopping 2. So if that's the case, well, have a nice evening. I'm going to go home, as I don't think there is a need for me since there's only 2 people here. Now, unless you guys multiply pretty quickly, I will say good night. Let's see how fast. There you go. Got 5 of you here. That sounds better. Now we are just world known. Okay, let's see where the hell are we. All right. So I thought I'll have a late night talk since I couldn't make it today. I really needed to go for a hike. So many shit is happening in my life. So sometimes you just need to take care of yourself. So I had a beautiful hike in a forest, and it was lovely. I was with a friend, and we had conversations and enjoyed the relaxing atmosphere of the hike. And so I feel better now. Don't forget to spend some time with the nature. That will help you to put things in perspective and understand that you're not alone. There is a world out there. And the world that you have made it to be the entirety of the world is only a fragment of the world, which is framed into your consciousness according to the content of your consciousness, which is limited. And it's a fragment of the whole entirety of available information, but you're seeing the entirety of the world through a fragment and a small hole representing to you that is the entirety of the whole, but in fact it's a fragment. So through a fragment of the world, you're seeing or imagining, perceiving the entirety of the world. So when you spend time with nature, it lets you know that what you know and what you think it's the entirety of the world is rubbish, because there is a world out there, so much opportunities and amazing hopefulness out there, that you can just get out of these petty rules and regulations and limitations that you have been limited to throughout your life, and brainwashed and conditioned to think there is nothing but what is being set out for you, whether through a relationship or whether through some governmental laws and regulations, or from some idiot's behavior or actions against you. You will see that the world is much bigger than what you thought that you're dealing with, and you will be one with that huge power, and you get lots of positive energy from it, and you'll realize that you're one with the nature and nothing can defeat you. All right, having said all that, let's see who's here. Miyamoto. Miyamoto, my favorite name. Just add a Musashi at the end. Miyamoto Musashi says, if Miyamoto Musashi knew what you're asking, he'll just chop you off. Says, hello, Meron. So early live stream. Yeah, I thought I'd just do one because I didn't do it this morning. And Morde, I don't know what that stands for. I just know in my native mother tongue language, Morde means it's dead. So you might want to change that word. Says hello and thank you for that. Remember, Miyamoto and Morde, please include your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. It'll give me some background, some minor help to know a little bit about you, how to address you, if you are a man or woman, how old you are, what cultural background. It'll just help me a little bit in responding to you accordingly. Stephen is here. So hello, Mehran. Stephen, male, 42, Los Angeles. See, that's how you do it. Name, gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Male, 42, M42, Los Angeles. And then who else we have? We have, that's it. That's all we have. Okay, we have Thomas Joseph is here. Says, wow, I didn't expect you to go live now. I didn't either, but here I am. And Morde says, age 22, male, Asian. What the hell is Asian? We're all Asians. So many of us Asian. Asia is the biggest continent in the world. What are you talking about? So, Iranians are Asians. Iraqis are Asians. Palestinians are Asians. Israelis are Asians. Russians partly are Asians, part of the Russia, and the other part is in Europe. Lots of places are, and then from Thailand and Singapore, China, Japan, Korea. These are all Asian countries. So do you want me to guess? Help me out here. And Thomas says, Justin, Florida 22. Thank you for that. And Thomas Joseph says, India. What do you mean? You just said, Thomas Joseph said Florida 22, but you also say India. Are you trying to confuse me? Angelo Portalino says, Angelo, male, 43, Australia. Thank you for that. And Angkor says, sir, came to a college of 30,000 plus crowd, and here I am facing false attraction, sir. You are fussing about it too much, Anchor. Understand it once and for all. This is a temporary thing. It's got nothing to do with you. It's got something to do with that fucked up brain of yours and everybody else's, including mine, and so on and so forth. Because the human psyche, human psyche is fucked up to begin with. It's still work in progress. You just got to have this brain 40,000 years ago. It's not complete. It's fucked up. It makes all confusing stuff because it's just one of those things, like any other organ, breaks down. So you're fussing with it so much because you don't understand that you're not responsible for this apparatus's mix up and mixed signaling and fucked upness. You want to take the responsibility for it, and you want to behave as if it's got to do with you because you haven't digested that you're not the brain and brain is not you. So what it does, it's no different than you when you're having a diarrhea. Say, well, I don't know diarrhea. I never want to have diarrhea. I don't want to be It's a malfunction of the intestine. Yeah? Or no different than farting. So, I don't want to fart. This is one something that is sometimes happens when there's so much gas in there and got to get rid of it. Now, brain also malfunctions in a sickness. It is more complicated. It's got the amygdala involved. It's got striatum. It's got the goal-finding center in the striatum, the award center and the habit center, then caudate nucleus malfunction, then prefrontal cortex and, basal ganglia in the midbrain. All these malfunction, and when they malfunction, it becomes a real shithole. Now, you either understand this, you constantly bitch about it instead of learning how to rewire, help the brain to rewire. Brain is not your enemy. It's just another weak apparatus that we have that sometimes gets sick. So you got to help it. Help it. It's like when you bang your knee somewhere you can't walk, you get a cane and help yourself. Now the brain has been hit itself to some stuff and is fucking up. So help it with all the things. 3,000 goddamn videos here, at least 1,000 of it is, or 500-600 of it is regarding OCD and HOCD. Take it, use the experts' opinions, such as Dr. Schwartz, that I've quoted him, made video on him. Watch the videos of Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Weiner. These are all on YouTube. And understand and learn. Stop freaking out. Nothing's going to happen to you. Your dick is not going to fall off, and you're not going to turn into a woman, and you won't end up having a vagina. And if you have some kind of attraction here and there, these are all having to do with your amygdala overacting, trying to protect your gender, because your identity is all connected to your gender, in your opinion, and you have simply are panicking because you're such a perfectionist that you don't even accept any mistake in anything. Probably you're the same way in many other things in your life, that you want to make everything so perfect. Even you probably, when you draw some drawing, you will draw several times on the same line to make it so perfect that eventually you fuck it up. So, having said that, let me relax now. I hear from you so often, constantly complaining, rather than putting the things that I've put in front of you as a reference in the videos to work for you. You got to repair and rewire the fucked up brain. But you're just wanting to panic and expect it to go away without you actually being the master that you are of the brain and help it to rewire. All these that you're saying is out of fear and out of being a pussy, and stop being a pussy and take charge of your apparatus and be a mature adult. Try to fix and help the brain that is now just going through malfunction by understanding the components of the brain, how it functions and malfunctions, and help it to get back to the default setting. That's your only way. Otherwise, you will always fret and just unnecessarily drive yourself nuts because you somehow think you're the brain. It's sacrilege to understand that the brain is the fucking organ, is not you. And I've proven it to you guys through scientific discussions and proofs and philosophical proofs. And if you just want to take my breath away and keep asking fucking questions back and forth and not really educating yourself, I can't help you. I can't help you. All the answers are in the videos. And you know what to do. Most of you are just lazy, don't want to learn. I have another young lady from India. Constantly, I've explained things from A to Z for her, and she never makes it to the live stream. And she says, oh, time difference. Well, if you really, really are so eager to get answers, will you bloody fucking get up at the certain time and stay up, because it's all weekend there anyhow, to get your answers. But she wants me to explain, and I do, and I have. Yet she comes back, and I keep telling her, assurance is not going to help you. You got to learn how to rewire your brain, understand your relationship with the brain. That's you're not the brain, and brain is not you. And she keeps saying, okay, answer this, and I will never ask you again. And I just say yes or no. Is this because of this or good? And I explain to her elaborately, and then next day, oh, just answer this and just yes or no. And don't, I keep telling her and she doesn't listen. So I won't answer her anymore. I'm not sitting here for you guys to just not apply what I'm sharing with you and keep wanting to sit on your asses, do not the work, and just expect things to be in a way of assurance giving you. Everybody is telling you assurance is not the way. You got to learn what's happening in the brain. Then you didn't need assurance. Stop this assurance and don't piss me off. Jesus. All right. Now, let's go back. And we have Muhammad Ansari says, sir, I have issues. Okay, I'll get back to you. And Shubham Bansal is here. All right, we have whopping 11 people here. Hoo-ha. Say, okay, Angelo Partilino. Okay, let's go back from the beginning. Let's see what questions we have. Steven says, I had plans to go to a bar with a friend tonight, but he flaked, so I stayed home. Okay. I still don't feel like dating anyone else yet. Well, suit yourself. Sit home and jack off for the rest of your life. How about that? Be a pussy. You know, you are into her pussy anyhow. An ugly pussy that you had, and she was no good in any way, shape, or form, but you happen to seek refuge between her fucking leg as if the world is made and broken by her farting. When are you guys going to grow up and respect yourselves? When are you going to respect yourselves? One girl breaks up with you for whatever the fuck the reason is, and you know damn well that she wasn't worth it. Yet, you are like that. You know why, Stephen? I have given you from A to Z, but you know why? You don't know how to live alone. You don't know how to be alone. You don't know how to appreciate life. You don't know how to be one with the nature. You don't know how to be one with all the opportunities out there. Everything that you have, you take it for granted. You don't appreciate any fucking thing that you have gained and accomplished. Naturally, you're looking for your worth and value, not in what you've accomplished, not in the pain that you have suffered to get to where you are, in affirmation of some pussy, as if she has accomplished herself to the level of Mother Teresa. So you want her affirmation to make you feel good. Why don't you just take life for what it is? It was a duration. Everything in this life has a duration. In this duration of this relationship, you learn some things. It didn't work out because it was not meant for you. Doesn't matter how much you want to shove it into some hole, something that is too big, it won't go. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter how much you want this to have worked, it didn't work. It wouldn't have worked because your content of the consciousness is different and you guys will not be compatible. You never were. You liked her because she was available and you could cuddle with her and not feel alone. And text with her just because you've trained yourself to think that having a girlfriend is end all be all. And if not, there is no other woman in the world. That's the only one. That tells me laziness. Otherwise, you know damn well there are better girls out there. Unless you cut the rope of your boat from the dock, there is no fucking chance for you to be able to row to another island or see another things on the way on this ocean. You tied yourself to the dock and you're expecting to find another relationship. I don't feel like going on a date with any why because you haven't broken up with this one in your brain. You're still hoping that someday she will come and fart in your face and say, oh, my girlfriend is back. Instead of qualifying her, see the fact that she's worth nothing for you. She doesn't do anything for you. She's not even good looking. What the fuck are you expecting this relationship to turn out to when you've already tried it and you see it didn't work? And you still tell me, I don't feel like going out with another way because you're still, your head is up her ass as far that you cannot even see. It doesn't matter how much money you pay me, doesn't matter how many questions I answer, how logical. The last video I uploaded, I don't think any one of you have ever seen anything like that anywhere. Nobody has been able to analyze the situation after breakup the way I have in that video. And still, you're just hoping, fantasizing, living in your memory, and taking the selected pleasurable moments of a relationship to represent the entirety of the relationship, which is not the case. It's not truthful. And you've chosen that to keep it in your memory, and you go into the memory, spend time with those selected memories. But that's what you want? No different than jacking off the rest of your life. Go ahead. No skin off of my nose. So my question to you is, when do you think is it going? What miracle are you waiting to happen before you actually realize you're wasting your life on this bullshit? I mean, it's a money pit for me. Every time you ask a question, you pay money and I answer it. But every time I think and I say, this is the last question he will ask, because look, there is no better way to explain it to him. And every time I answer it in a way that it blows your mind and you say it. Yet you want another question. These are all because you have OCD of asking questions to become assured of what you have already heard from me is actually the answer for you, or should be used or not. Is there any better answer? So you're constantly in search of a better answer, as if one answer will actually stick his hand up your ass and pull your heart out and throw it out, and then you have no other feelings for her. That's never going to happen. You need to do this yourself. Stick your own ass up your ass. I mean, still on a finger hand up your ass and get your heart out and throw it out and piss on it. The heart that constantly stays with this kind of a girl and this kind of situation and cannot see, that heart needs to be part of shit that you just shit it out in the toilet. All right, let me calm down. You deserve it. You're pissing me off. A man like you, with your talent, with your education, with your expertise, with the money you've made, with the home that you've built for yourself, and you have it, you've bought it, with the good parents that you have, a couple of nice dogs that you have, you're moaning and groaning for a piece of garbage that actually you were thinking with your needs rather than qualifying this girl as far as the content of her consciousness. And then now you can't even move on as if there is no other girl whatsoever. I mean, if this was working, as ugly as she was, I don't give a shit. If it was working, you loved her, she loved you, and she was good to you, perfect. But when she is not and have left you, fuck with another guy, and then you still think that is something worthwhile for you to continue on if she comes back, that's on you. That's on you. You're so bogged down in figuring out why somebody left you that you can't even see that it doesn't matter why. All it matters is that you're free from some shitty relationship, and it's your opportunity, your cue to go on find amazing girls that are still out there. All right. That was $100 lecture that you guys are getting scot-free in this fucking live streams that I don't know why I'm doing it, because you guys keep coming back with the same bullshit as if you're not hearing anything. This is world of OCD. Understand it. It's going to drive you nuts, and it's going to drive you to the mud like a ship that is, taking ground. If you don't understand, all you're doing, you're looking at the situation with the eye of the need. Eye of the need. Instead of understanding the logic and the actuality of the relationship, rather than keep thinking about your need to be with somebody. That need can be there for somebody else later on. Right now, focus on this could not have been qualified for you. That's all you have to do. And you're failing. You just don't want to do it. As long as you don't face the facts and truth of life, you'll be in your illusions. Hopeful illusions that this was not what I thought it was. This was not what it was. She must be really good. She was just hiding it. When she was fucking another guy after you left you, it wasn't really fucking. It was thinking about you and fucking the guy. I mean, you want to fool yourself, go ahead and fool yourself. We want to be realistic. That will give you the freedom. What's betraying you right now is your own thoughts. Thoughts are the roots of all problems. The thought that she was right, the thought that you had fun with it, the thought that she didn't let you be alone. These are all bullshit. It was you who weren't, you created a situation that you weren't alone. It was you that you gave your heart and love and attention to her, but she didn't deserve it. So it was not that she was the best thing there ever was there. Because you were just looking after your own need rather than looking after finding out if she actually qualifies and if she's compatible with you or not. You didn't care about yourself. First rule of life is to respect yourself. If you want somebody to respect you, first you got to be a role model and teach them how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. You treat yourself like shit. A weak pussy who doesn't have respect for himself and lets anybody treat him any way, shape, or form, as long as there is a bone thrown at his plate, that he gets some cuddling, some fucking, once in a while, maybe a dinner she prepared for you. Suddenly, from all that time that she didn't do any shit, you remember the 2 times that she made dinner for you. And for that reason, you think, oh my goodness, she was the greatest ever. Okay, go ahead. Fool yourself. All right. Miyamoto says, I don't know how to detach myself again from this HOCD thoughts and live my life normally. When I see beautiful girl, thoughts show up. Why are you liking her? You're not heterosexual. Well, listen, your problem is not what the brain says. Your problem is that you think the brain is you. So you take it seriously rather than understanding you're not the brain. Brain is not you. You've been duped and conditioned to think that what shows up in the screen of your head, because it's mounted on your head, it must be credible because it's part of you. No, it is not. It is a different apparatus, a different system. It's the brain. Brain is not you. You're not the brain. Brain can say shit as much as it wants. It shouldn't make a difference to you when you know that it's a separate system. It's a device. Brain is a device. If you guys ever watched that elaborate video that I made 45 minutes in regards to dualism, materialism, Aristotle's philosophical point of view, neurosciences, modern science, and proving all, including the experiments of Dr. Sperry, the neurosurgeon of brain, and Dr. Penfield of Montreal, and his experiences and 1,000 surgeries on the brain to localize different things in the brain, never could localize intelligence center in the brain, never could localize compassion center in the brain, never could localize consciousness in the brain, never could localize political system, they never could localize mathematical center in the brain. Brain is just an apparatus. Experience of Dr. Owens, experience of Dr. Leibniz shows you that when you make the ultimate veto of any decision or choice, brain does not even have a magnetic field activities, meaning brain is clueless, which means you are above the brain. There is something beyond the brain that makes you. Brain is an apparatus and you're on top of the brain. There are aspects of you and the mind that the brain cannot even reach. And you shitheads don't even want to get it because you have bought into this bullshit that the brain is the smart. You are the brain. Brain is just an organ. That's all. It fucks up. You got to help it. You got to read. You got to look at the stuff that Dr. Owen proved. A crushed brain that was not functioning whatsoever, and the lady was in vegetative state, couldn't function whatsoever. They could communicate with her because there was something beyond the brain that would make parts of the brain light up when they would put a question to her through the loudspeaker, and she would just think the answer, and they could trace the sugar that was going to go to that part of the brain, which scan would show that the movement of the brain, movement of the blood went there because you had to take sugar to the active part of the brain. They could see that part of the brain is active. And that was when the brain itself was crushed, gone, finished, couldn't function, but still something was make it function. That tells you that you're not the brain, you're above the brain. Brain is not you. So all these things that you hear from the brain are just utterings of the brain, not you, not relevant to you, whether it's HOCD, whether it's some other kind of intrusive thoughts, it doesn't matter. You live by your vetoes and choices, not the suggestions, images, or thoughts that the brain produces on a daily basis. It produces 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. You don't have time to analyze every fucking bit of it and decide if it's this or that. It does its own job. You are the decision maker. Your awareness is the decision maker. And you got to come to terms with that. Then you're free because you're not confined by the abilities and inabilities and malfunction of the brain. There's something beyond the brain that is you, which allows you to veto brain's choices and suggestions. And when you veto something, brain doesn't even have electromagnetic activities, which means it's oblivious to you, which means it cannot reach you, which means you're the boss. Kabish? God damn it, you guys make me sick when I have to keep repeating myself. I'll have to say that. All right. Yamato, that was your answer. Now, and Mورد, whatever that is, says, lost my pet on Sunday this weekend. Don't feel like living. It's very hard to do daily chores or work, especially when the death was not peaceful, but a painful one. How do I think you're a troll, my friend. And if you are, just don't be like that, all right? We've got things to do. And if you're really serious, well, grow up, okay? I'm very sorry that if it's true and your cat died. So I'm very sorry that your pussy died. But, you know, it happens to the best of us. So get over it and move on. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen. Nothing. You're going to lose on every other front as well. So let's move on from Mورد something, age 22, male Asian. Okay. And Thomas says Florida, and Thomas also says India. I think Thomas is confused tonight. Angelo Portalino says male 43, Australia. Thank you for that. I remember I already read that. And Thomas says, so look, the thought is literally so no show up that aggressive but still makes suggestion. I have accepted the thoughts could be there. However, the thoughts lingers. Yeah, of course it lingers. Because you're constantly trying to prove to the thought that it's right or wrong and find reasons to make it right, as if you prove the fucking brain that its thought is irrelevant and useless and inaccurate and not true. It will say, oh, sorry about that. I will never make intrusive thoughts again. Sorry, chap. Bye-bye for now. No, it's sick. It's malfunctioning. It doesn't matter what argument you will have with it. It doesn't matter what proof you show it to it. It's just malfunctioning in its signaling system. It's going to produce all kind of shitty thoughts. So focus on that rather than arguing and trying to convince the brain that this what you're saying is not right, as if you're talking to an intelligent being or sentient being. It's a fucking organ. It's like you're talking to your liver and telling it, you know, you shouldn't be having less enzyme. You should produce more. And because that's what the latest medical journal says so. And the liver says, oh, sorry, chap, I will get on with it right away. It doesn't understand what the fuck you're talking about. The same thing with brain. The fact that you can actually get brain to help you to learn math or speaking different languages, you think the brain itself has intelligence, so you communicate with it. You're communicating with your own self, not with the brain. So it makes no fucking difference when you explain things to the brain. It is you that should understand how the components are functioning and malfunctioning. And then on that basis, do certain steps, such as the steps that Dr. Schwartz have explained, excellent experts such as Dr. Philipson and Dr. Jan Weiner, the stuff that they talk in their videos, and then apply them to turn the malfunctioning brain, which is not intelligent, it's not a sentient being that you're communicating with it, so it can rewire it and turn it into a machine that is working on its default setting. That's what you should be focusing on, not arguing and logically trying to reason with the brain why I'm not gay, and you should understand that. It's like talking to a fucking statue. It doesn't understand what you're saying. Its malfunctioning produces these intrusive thoughts, but it doesn't have capability for you to tell him and reason with it that why you shouldn't do that. And this is what you guys do. And when you don't get results, you say, oh, it's lingering. Then it must be true. I must be this or must be that, or I must be a lion today or a hawk the next day or a mouse or this or that and whatnot. So get this part straight, then you'll all be okay. Then you'll all be straight. All right. Steven says, that was beautiful what you said, Mehran, that there is a whole world out there. I need to seriously get out more, maybe travel even through it's by, though it's by myself. Again, you see, even you don't dare to finish your sentence about you and the possibilities out there because you just so quickly get disappointed. Although by myself at the moment. Being by yourself is not a handicap. Being by myself or by yourself or one by oneself is a blessing that sometimes you really need it and want to be. You don't want to be with all these shitheads out there one way or another. You just want to be with the nature, to find yourself in relation with the universe, with nature, with the energy that has put us all together from the same energy. Stop needing some uttering of another fucked up brain that is playing with your fucked up brain, and you think your salvation and your solutions is in the thoughts and opinions of that particular person or a girl or whatever it is that you're into. Your salvation is in understanding that the roots of all problems are thoughts. Thoughts are roots of all problems. Whatever you're going through right now is because you're believing your thoughts that is not instigated by you. It's not calculated, motivated, cleared, or created by you. It's by the brain, because brain also uses its own apparatus to make thoughts. And so when you want to say, I want to travel quickly, say, but I'm alone by this time. You want to be alone. You want to be alone so you can actually learn something about yourself, not be needy. Practice to be alone. Practice to have fun to be by yourself. Learn how to be alone. Being alone is not lonely. Look at the dictionaries in the old times. Alone, all one, alone. That's how it's spelled in the old times. All one. Alone means you're one with the whole, with all. You're complete. You're not alone. You're one with all the universe. Trees, oceans, flowers, everything, animals. Alone is not a negative word. It's a positive word. I'm alone. It meant at once that I'm one with all one. I'm one of everything that is created this world. I'm part of that whole thing. When you learn that you are alone, meaning you're one with the whole nature, you become powerful and you will not be lonely. How could you be lonely when you're part of whole? Think of it that way. Understand it. Connect with the universe. Connect with nature. All right. Zach J says, hello. Zach, 20 years old from Florida, USA. Oh, my goodness. You're about 4 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing up so late? Steven said, I'm part Asian. Lol. Okay. Arnold Skolskis, I hope I didn't butcher the name, says, what to do if Arnold, first I need to know age, gender, where you're tuning in from. He says, what to do if I'm jealous because my ex has another man, but I actually don't want her back. If she would be alone, I would not suffer that much. Yeah, but that's on you. You can't stop people from living. What if you were having a girlfriend right now? Would you like it to be up to your ex when she knows you're with a girlfriend to wish the girlfriend to go away and she would actually go away? I mean, would that be acceptable to you? No, you're having your life. You're going on. You're moving on. Well, allow her to move on. Stop this hate. Why do you have to think that, okay, I understand that. I'm not dummy. I understand that it's hard for every one of us men when some girl leaves us or we break up with her one way or another and she's in bed with another guy. We don't like it. Well, that's how we are. We are heterosexual male. We're all alpha in a way. And we just don't like our women to be touched with by another man. It's simple. So it's not abnormal that you feel that way, but it doesn't have to stop you from living, because then that's on you. The fact that you feel uncomfortable when your ex is with somebody else, that's normal. Every man would feel the same, at least for a while. That's normal. But to actually not go on and to feel that you got to continue this, that's on you. For a bit is okay. But wishing her ill and all that, it doesn't help you. It just makes you focus more on her life than your own life. You got to learn that you have to take care of your life. Right now, you have broken up with your girlfriend, so your first and foremost priority should be find maybe another relationship if you're up to it. If you're not, focus on your studies or focus on your job or focus on making money, focus on your going to the gym and socializing and bringing opportunities to your life. That's what you should focus on now, not focusing on what she's doing in her life. Focus on what you're doing in your life, what you're doing for your position and circumstance. If you continue focusing on her, that's on you. Being uncomfortable that she's with somebody, that's normal for a while. But being focused on what she does the rest of her life or who she's with and this and that, that's on you. Waste of your life. What are you going to get from all these thoughts of, oh, I'm going to be more comfortable if she's not laying up with legs up in the air and not being rammed by somebody else? What kind of a nonsense is that? You can't control that. And why do you want something that you cannot control it? You can't have a say in it. Just turn your head away and go and focus on what you can find that could maybe be a foundation for a good relationship. That's more pleasant. Turn your energy into positive energy. Let her have her life. Live and let live. She needs to be with someone. She was stupid enough not to see the value in you, or for whatever reason, differences in the content of the consciousness, you guys were not compatible. Give that to her. Allow her to make decisions for her own life, just as she should allow you to make decisions for your own life. You can't control what she does. Why should you? You're not her daddy. Good riddance. It wasn't working. Good riddance. She's gone. Let somebody else have fun with her, and she will have fun with whatever it is that she thinks she's doing. But you also have fun for your own life. Why should you have to worry about what she's doing? What's that going to give you? You broke up with her for whatever reason. That's the end of it. Clean cut, out. Live your life. There's so many other things out there that you're supposed to explore and find out and learn. So what you're feeling is not her fault. Maybe what she did and how the breakup happened, maybe it's her fault, your fault, doesn't matter. But it's both of you fault or somebody's fault, yeah. But what she does with her life, it's none of your business, really. Accept that. None of your business. Yeah, you have this possessive nature, we all do, but it's over. Don't waste your life. Don't waste your energy. Spend your energy on other things, good things. Life is short. It is. Before you know it, it's gone. Don't waste it on her. All right. Shabham says, sir, when someone understands brain is a separate entity and it may create wrong things, then almost problem gets resolved. Yes, of course. It's like you bought a machine. Listen, when you buy this, let's say, gadget, you buy this calculator, when you do calculation and you say, I don't think that sounds right. You say, but it's a calculator. It must be right. You do it again. I don't think it's right. Yeah. But it's a calculator. It must. You do it a few times. You say, what the fuck? It doesn't make sense. When it's not right, well, it's not your fault. Understand this. And it's the fault of this that is malfunctioning. So, okay, let it fix itself. Or I will take it to repair shop and have it fixed. But I'm not going to be bothered by the calculation that it does. I'm going to do my own calculations and it comes to the right answer. The ones who learned how to do math without calculator. All right. Muhammad Ansari says, sir, I have HOCD. I'm a male, 20, India. I have sensitive, soft heart. I'm very emotional from childhood, but act as strong from outside. There is a saying that soft-hearted, emotional males are not true male. That's a bunch of cocky shit. Was it cocky shit? Is that a word I just made? That's bullshit. A strong man is emotional because a strong man from the strength side wants to help people. To help people, you got to feel their pain. To feel their pain, you got to be emotional. Emotion is sign of alive, being alive. You can feel things. The men who actually are acting brute or not emotional, they're sick. Because masculine, any man is made out of masculine and feminine. And feminine women are made out of feminine and masculine. There has to be a balance between these two elements to make a proper strong sword, like a sword of samurai. If it's just made from one brute metal, the moment it hits something, it breaks, shatters. But when it has a different, softer metal in the center of this hard metal, when it hits the resonance and the flexibility, it cuts through with power and it doesn't break because it's got the flexibility. A man who's got emotion and understands emotion is a man who can train, lead, and be compassionate to help these wounded soldiers to rest and recuperate. Otherwise, a general who is just brute, he will end up killing all his soldiers. A strong man is a man who can feel the pain of the others, can be compassionate. For that, you need emotions. And that's a balanced man. The men who are not feeling emotion, they're not soft when it needs to be, they are not men. They are cowards. They're scared. They're so scared that they cannot feel the pain and the hardship of others. Therefore, they cannot help anybody but themselves because they're scared of not having what they want to have and they're not worried about helping others. That's not a man. Man helps others if he can. So you having that emotion, that's good. I'm an emotional man. I feel the pain of others. That's why I love to help people. It doesn't mean that you should be more concerned about others than yourself, but it should mean that you should have enough understanding of what emotion and pain and the life lessons of others are, what they're going through, so you can be compassionate. And for that, you need that bit of a understanding heart. You want to call it softness? Go ahead. But it just means understanding heart that can feel the pain and emotion of the others. Emotions are the energy. And if someone is incapable of feeling emotion, that means incapable of feeling all the energies available, which are the signals to human being, what to do, how to protect themselves, how to protect the others, and how to see the world as it turns, because they can only see one energy signal and that's just simply some brute, uneducated, incapable of reasoning, and it's just like a person who doesn't know how to read. It's got no education, doesn't know how to read, can only read one type of words. There's so many different words and sounds. You should be able to make sense out of it. All that means you got to be able to see all these vocabularies, all these words, and in the translation of it would be to be able to understand all these energies, emotional energies, brute energies, fighting energies, anger energies, soft energies. Our master in Aikido always said, man should be able to smile so the children will draw near, and frown so the wild animals would flee. We need both abilities, softness and hardness, to defend, to fend off the wild animals from our loved ones and ourselves. You need to have that power. To be able to help things grow and develop, and to be able to console them and protect them. So you got to be able to smile in such a way that the children would draw near. That's as soft and compassionate and flexible as a man should be, the same as tough and rough to fend off the enemies of yourself and your loved ones. That's the nature's way, and that's the way to be, and that's the normal way. This is the way. I was part of Mandalorian. This is the way. So, Angelo Portalino says, your videos, Mehran, have helped me tremendously after my breakup. She left me to sleep with another man and then wanted me back. It's been a tough road and my brain has been in diarrhea mode. Okay. All right. Where are we? I lost it. And Miyamoto says, I watch your many videos, but still I'm not able to resist this HOCD. Well, it's up to you. You can choose to. You see, it's not about resistance. That's your problem. You're trying to resist the HOCD thoughts. Why are you trying to resist? Do you resist when somebody's acting out of place in the street? It's none of your business. Let them do whatever the clown they want to make out of themselves. But trying to fix the actions and utterings and tastes and behavior of the others is going to waste your time. But when you understand they're not you, you're not them, then it's on them. Then whatever the fuck they want to do. You're trying to resist the thought. Thought is made 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. You want to resist them? You want to waste your energy and time trying to argue with a machine, with an organ? You want to convince it, don't make intrusive thoughts. As if the brain is a sentient being that is going to understand, oh, sorry, I will not do that anymore, master. It's a dumb idiot machine that is gone malfunctioning. So you don't resist what it does. You just understand that it's fucking crazy, let it do what it does, and you go on about your own business. And no matter how many times these images show up and stay there, don't worry about it. You focus the more on what it is that you want to accomplish. Don't try to push this away, destroy it, or dismantle it, delete it, or resist it, or fight with it and argue. No, let it be. You just focus on what it is that you want to do. Make a choice that this is irrelevant to me. I'm going to do whatever it is that I'm going to do. That itself shows the brain by action. Brain is not going to understand your words. Brain is not going to be trained by words. But when you focus on what you're doing, your actions will teach the brain that I'm not going to interact with you when you're coming up with things that are not of interest to me. I'm going to be focusing on those things. The brain sees there's no interaction with you when it makes these sort of thoughts, intrusive thoughts. It learns by your level of energy that is not giving it, denying it of interaction energy. It learns that you're not interested. If he behaves that way, there's no energy coming this way. This is how they train rats. They don't understand words by behavior and consequences. So you're showing the brain that you keep this up, I'm going to be doing whatever I'm doing. I don't care how annoying your thoughts or images, suggestions are in the screen of my head, but I am separate from you and I don't care what the hell you say because I'm not going to pay attention to you for the fuck-ups that you're making that I'm not interested. You're my subordinate. So therefore, you got to learn from what I pay attention to, what I don't pay attention to. So if you keep resisting, that is a way of paying attention to the brain's uttering or suggestions, which it encourages it to keep doing it because it's getting energy from you, getting energy of interaction with you. But when you deny it of that energy of attention, interaction, and focus on whatever it is, regardless of how much background noise or background suggestion is there, it will learn that it's not getting food. It's not getting attention, which it's looking for. And then by action, it subdues that thoughts, the number of production of those thoughts. Bit by bit, less and less and less, it downgrades its production until it is in line with your values, and then you will use or choose to use some of it, whatever it is, if it's in line and useful for you for what it is that you want to accomplish on your daily life. That's how you rewire it. And for that, Dr. Schwartz has the 4 steps: relabel, reframe, refocus, and revalue. When you do the relabel and you do the reframe and you do the refocus, the revalue automatically takes place in the brain. So you got to watch my video in regards to what Dr. Schwartz's 4 steps are. I've explained it in detail, and then you will put it to work, and then it will start diminishing the number of the intrusive thoughts and OCD thoughts, and it starts rewiring the brain through neuroplasticity and helps you out to help the brain. All right? Angelo Portalino says the videos have helped the diarrhea. Okay, great. Mورد says, how to cope with grief. Look, it is very difficult to cope with grief. Something happens in our life, we lose a loved one, whether it's a pet or it's a member of the family or someone that you care about. It's always horrendous challenge. So no denying that. And there is no but. We have no choice but realizing that the whole journey of life is temporary. Expecting the things that we love in this journey of life to be permanent is unreasonable, because the whole journey is temporary, but we expect some of the things that happens in this journey to be permanent. How could it be? I'm not saying that we should expect our loved ones or our pet to die so quickly or unexpectedly, but there's never enough time to expect anything like that anyhow. And it just means that these sort of things should be understood that they each have the duration in life. The pets someday die. That someday could be tomorrow, that someday could be natural life that they have. But they will die, as every one of us will. But lingering in there and not appreciating or understanding the rule of life and the way life is like trying to rewrite the rule of this universe, and we don't have that capability. So you're expecting so much from yourself, and because you can't bring to fruition what you expect, you're in grief. Understand that this is not on you that the cat has died. It happens. You are not responsible for having caused or wished the cat to die and then it died. Now that it has happened, understand that it had a duration. You learn certain experiences with interacting with that cat. You've grown maybe differently. You become more mature. You learn something, and this is one of the facts of life. And thank God that it wasn't your parents who died. It was your cat. Not that it's not important, but you can somehow always have some kind of a relevancy or some kind of a comparison to kind of make yourself feel a little bit more understanding. Now, if it was, some human being that you were close to, I would have referred you to one of my videos that it says the death in the family or death of a family member, something like that. I made that video for a client of mine who many years ago had lost his mother, and he couldn't pass that. So it's an elaborate video. You might want to watch that. It could be helpful. Yamato, I don't quite understand, while I do or don't, because that question needs a detailed response to you. I gotta start talking about what is thought. Where does it come from? What is it consciousness? And the relationship between thoughts and consciousness. And then I can go from there, show you the concept of the watcher and the watched, that's the relationship between thought and the consciousness. And then we can move from there to redundancy. And then we conclude eventually that it's all thoughts. Consciousness is not the watcher, because you think the thought is subject to the consciousness, but the consciousness itself was put together by thoughts. So if we go through the process of analyzing the cycle of thought to consciousness and back to thought, action, experience, knowledge, memory, and then from that another thought showing up, coming out, turning into action, from the action the experience, from the experience knowledge, and knowledge be recorded in the memory again. So we can see that the consciousness that is being made by the thought going to action, going to experience, going to knowledge, and going to memory, turning it into consciousness, it's all thought then. So it's not the consciousness that's watching the thought, it's the thought that is creating the consciousness. So it's all thought. The watcher and the watched, watcher being the consciousness, watched being the thought, they're all both one and the same. So the watcher is redundant. It's all watched. Watched is what the the watch is made out of. So it gets a little complicated because I'm hitting it from the middle, since I didn't go through the whole process to show you where they all come together and how their connections are made. So for that, you might want to make an appointment with me on Skype. As you guys know, I have a site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com. You can make an appointment with me to discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Arnold says he's telling all harsh reality, but it's necessary, tough love. Thank you, Arnold. Arnoldas, thank you for understanding. Of course it is. We have Gary or Gray Jedi Serena. Oh my goodness. We have a super chat, guys. Let's take a picture of this because we seldom get a super chat. So let me take a screenshot of this. So we have Great Jedi Serena with $10 of super chat. Says, watched your session on Star Wars theory. Oh, and wanted to say thank you for sharing. Oh, thank you very much, dear. I appreciate your sharing your time with us and supporting us by being here. It's always a wonderful occasion when there is a Jedi in the mix. Impressive. Impressive. Most impressive. But you're not a Jedi yet. Remember that? I'm sure you are. All right. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for the super chat. Don't you have any questions for me that at least I could say something to you for your kind support of the channel? And I look forward for a question from you, and I'll get back to it as soon as I see one. In the meantime, I go to Thomas. Thomas says, okay, you're talking to somebody else. Okay, so all right, you're talking to, okay, that's good. Okay. And oh my goodness, another super chat from Grey Jeda Serena. Serena, you're really putting us to shame here. Serena says, I'm 33, associates in culinary arts, earned in 2010. 2010. Oh, like 13 years now. Says, fast forward with 13 years, still not sure how to ask in interviews, worth more. All right. Please elaborate a little bit more, and don't give me more super chat because you've done enough. I thank you very much. This is more than we've received in 10 shows because somehow we don't get that privilege. But I would like to understand your question a little bit better. So you're telling me that when you want to ask for a raise, you can't show them or utter that you're worth more than what you're getting paid, even though 13 years experience as a culinary artist? Is that what you're telling me, that you don't have the confidence to sit down and tell them what you want for salary or for what you do? Is that what you mean? Did I understand it right? Please help me to understand your question before I open my mouth, because I very much like to help you. And Arnold says, sir, thank you for your answer. My pleasure. Arnold says, I'm from Australia, age 32. Thank you for that. And Mikhail Hood, 745, or Michael Hood, says, paranormal techniques, quantum psychology. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Angie Martinez is here, female, 46, Arizona, USA. Thank you, Angie. Thank you for being here. Why are you up so late? Must be pretty late there, huh? Muhammad Ansari says he's being emotional. Okay. Okay. All right. We've talked about that. And Shubham Bansail says, we love you. Thank you very much. I love you too. Appreciate that. Angie Martinez says, life goes on. There's over 8 billion people in the world. I have listened to Mehran for years. I am worth something, and so are you. Polish yourself up and see what the world offers. Oh, you're talking to Serena. And Anish Shresh thought, okay, that was a tongue twist. So, sir, how to cope up with sexual intrusive thoughts? How to stop the arousal of it when you don't want? Can you help, please? Well, why do you want to cope with sexual intrusive thoughts rather than understanding this is one of the glitches that the brain has among many other glitches, and understanding that you're not the brain and brain is not you? So it's not on you when the brain is uttering something or imagine something, and the brain has the power to make the body react. The problem is here that the brain has the power to make the body react to a thought emotionally, physically. The brain can make the body, has the power to make the body to react to a thought, suggestion, or image, because the body is being given the cues by the brain, and the brain cannot tell the difference between actuality and virtuality. Brain lives in a virtual world. Everything in its world which is virtual to it is actual. So brain actually thinks the virtual world that is made in and lives in is an actual world. And when it actually influences the body to react actually in an actual world, you will see the reaction of the body because it's physical. It's not virtual. Its reaction is also viewed as a physical reaction. So this physical reaction of the body by the suggestion and power of the virtual brain becomes an evidence to you that the brain's suggestion was in fact accurate. Did you get that? The brain has the power to make the body react to a thought or emotion or suggestion or an image. When the thought, which is not true, illusion, is a suggestion, it has no actuality or fact about you. But when it has the power to make the body to react to that suggestion, thought, or image, you take that physical, actual reaction of the body as an evidence that the thought and suggestion or image is actually accurate in its suggestion towards you, your personality, your gender, everything else. That should not be an evidence of anything. It's just simply the power that the brain has over the body. It can make your body do things when that things that you're doing doesn't even exist, the source of it. For example, if you actually imagine you're in a French vineyard somewhere in France with a tour, and the tour guide gives everyone a cluster of grapes, which they're all green because it's out of season and it's not ripe, it's not sweet, it's sour like hell. They're all green grapes, and gives each one of your visitors, the tourists, one cluster of these green sour grapes. You all put in your mouth, bite into it, it splashes sourness all over your mouth, and then chases it up, gives you a chaser of a half a lime or lemon. You squish it in your mouth, and this whole sour grape and the lemon just makes your whole mouth dripping out of saliva. If you imagine that so well, you will have saliva in your mouth. But I want you to tell me, where is the sour grape? Where was the lemon? Nothing existed, but you still have saliva. Why? Because the brain cannot tell the actuality from virtuality. And the brain, through that imagination, made the body to secrete saliva. But there is no lemon, there is no sour grape. So are you taking this saliva, existence of saliva, as an evidence that actually there was a sour grape and a lemon? No, your cognitive function, your reasoning tells you that this was something that the brain has the power through imagination make you react physically. But that doesn't mean the reaction is an evidence that the suggestion of the brain is actually truthful. Same thing when intrusive thought shows up. It can make you have an arousal. It can make you have an arousal to a shiny doorknob, but that doesn't mean you're doorknobosexual. It can make you have an arousal to a shiny, strong muscle of a horse that is moving with soft, strong, and loose muscles before a race. And that muscle, the word muscle, the imagination of the muscle, loose, before you know it, it associates in the brain, not you, in the brain, associates itself with muscle, word, and it associates itself with naked body, muscle, sex. And you suddenly, without you even imagine a woman, there is an arousal, because the concept was associated in a nanosecond to what you consider sexy, which comes and is connected to the word or image of any muscle, any shiny thing. Or even you can see a set romantic table in a restaurant as you pass by and nobody's sitting on it, but it's just nice tablecloth and wine glasses and dishes, and it's ready for customers to sit on. But when you see that, you may get an arousal, because association to sex is in a nanosecond, because these sort of things is something that you already put it in your memory as something connected to romance. So these things are very simply possible. It doesn't mean that the evidence that is the arousal, it proves that the actual thought that accompanied this arousal, an intrusive thought about a same gender, would mean that your arousal is because of your interest in the same gender. It doesn't. It just so happens that even a naked body of a man reminds you of muscle and your own muscle, and you use your own muscle to associate it with when you have sex with a woman. And that association could create a arousal in you. But that doesn't mean that the arousal, which was triggered by seeing a naked muscle, is because of the same gender's man's muscle. Your interest is not in the same gender. It's the association of any muscle. It could be a dog without a hair with muscle that could represent and associate itself with nakedness. Nakedness reads into the mind about sex, and the sex will make you react because you understand sex with the woman. Whatever it is that it makes you, sex means to you, then you have the arousal. So these connections takes place in your brain, but it doesn't mean that the trigger is what you're interested in. The trigger is just makes the association. It's a little bit necessary for you to think it through and understand how the brain works, rather than so easily take a response, a physical response of a thought that was created by the brain as an evidence that the thought is actually what it is that you are interested in because you reacted physically. It's not true. Now, let me see. Serena sends another super chat. We are rich tonight, guys. Unbelievable. Thank you again, Serena. Says, in job interviews, I don't have the confidence to ask for pay when my work quickly shows I'm worth more pay. Okay. So it's not the first job interview. You get the job, and then when you perform in a review to give you raise yearly review or something, you don't have the guts to ask for raise because of the quality of your work is already shown beyond their expectation. That's one. Or also possibly in a job interview that you're just about to get or you want to get it, you can't answer properly the way you like to the question that how much do you want for it? And instead you probably, or when they offer something, you are shy to say that's not enough. So what do you think happens? I think you're worried about the outcome. You don't express yourself because you don't want to lose what seems to be a sure thing. You haven't gotten used to the fact to live with uncertainty. You want things to have an organization, a system, an assurance. You prefer a salary than commission because there's a certain security in it. So when it's offered to you a certain X amount of dollar, you find that as a secured amount and a sure thing. If I accept it, I get the job. But what if I don't accept it and want to hackle, then I may lose the job. The fear of not having the assurance and the security and what it is that you need stops you from negotiating. So number one, understand, if they have asked you to interview, they're going to offer you the least amount that they can because everybody wants to get a good deal and they want to get you for free if they can, but they can't. So they offer you something, but they already expect you not to accept that. When you accept it, you may actually lose the job because they think they just overpaid you because you didn't fuss about it. You said, okay, thank you. They say, we could have gotten that for less. So they may just not call you back and not give you the job. That's one thing you should be concerned about. Why is it that you think if you don't answer as you should will make you lose the job? Why don't you think that if you don't answer and defend yourself, ask for you more money, that might make you lose the job because they will think, why didn't she ask for more? We offered the least amount. We offered the lowest amount and hoping that she would hackle and we would come up a little bit. But she didn't hackle. If she didn't hackle, maybe she's not good enough. If she's not good enough, we made a mistake in interviewing her. Because if she was good enough, she would have just make a fuss. Oh, at least you would say, oh, thank you very much for your generous offer. But I already think that I have passed that amount of salary through my 13 years of experience. And I'm now expecting to join a company who could appreciate my skills better than the other companies that I've worked for now. I'm at a different echelon and level of my work. My work is more experienced than when I did. And this is similar to the amount that I used to get paid when I was not as experienced as I am today. If you put it this way, they will be convinced that this thing worth more than we just offered because she made sense. And she's not afraid to let us know her worth because if she doesn't know her worth, how could we? So if she's agreeable to this, that means we are overpaying. So let's just hackle now. Then they will stop giving you some of the other things that they were supposed to give you because they can't hackle down now. So you got to consider, what if I don't show that I expect more? That would be the reason that they will not hire me. What if that I'm creating a doubt in their mind because I'm not defending what I worth? Instead of thinking, if I defend what I worth, they may back off. Why? Are they a bunch of crazy people that you're doing interview with? They need a chef. They need a culinary artist. You're there. You're their vehicle that you can get them to a destination. But if you don't want them to pay a ticket price to get on this vehicle that takes them to the destination, you're offering them something for free. And nobody thinks a free thing is a valuable thing. If you offer something for nothing, they think that's its value, nothing. So when you don't defend and you don't ask for more, they think they actually are overpaying you. So think of it this way, that you have to, in order to get that job that they're offering you with even the same price that they're offering you, you need to just up hackle, just to solidify the deal. Nothing happens if you don't move. Nothing moves towards you if you don't move toward it. So they offer you something, you want a higher amount, move toward that higher amount by uttering it out. Say, listen, that's a number that I'm sure it's within your budget, but I am offering a culinary expertise that may not be suitable for your establishment, since I have 13 years of experience and I'm at top of my game. And how long do you think I'll be at top of my game? Maybe another 10 years. I need to accumulate and capitalize on my expertise at the top of my game. I am looking for an establishment that could need that kind of a talent. So I'm asking you, if this is the establishment that could need and appreciate my talents, how much are you willing to offer me for me to be 100% focused on what I'm doing and not to be looking around? I don't like to get a job and still know that there are better deals out there. So I want to be focused on my job, do my best here without looking around anymore. I'm not going to take the job just so I take the job and then keep looking. That's why I like to ask you, what is other numbers that you have in mind so I can make my decision now? If I would be the interviewer and you say that to me, I'll shit in my pants. I said, that's the girl I want because she definitely knows her value and definitely can convince me that I'm going to lose something good if I don't up the price. And I would up the price. So let me know if that will help you out, if that is what you wanted to discuss, and if I have hit the nail on the head, or rather. So at least you got your super chat's worth, I hope. And Carl says, hello, Carl, 40 UK. I was with my ex for 5 years. She also had 2 kids who I helped look after. She recently left me for a 27-year-old. She's 42. Now it's really affected my self-worth and left me heartbroken. I miss her and her kids, but I'm trying to move on. It's just tough. Yes, it is tough, but she's stupid, isn't she? I mean, look at it. She's 42 years old. A 27-year-old is a good toy for her. But soon enough, in about 2 or 3, maybe 2 years maximum, the 27-year-old will leave her because he won't be able to catch up with her mentality, with her intelligence. He cannot carry a conversation or be of an asset to her life. He's too immature, and she will come to her senses that she made a big mistake. But let her burn into her stupidity, because at age 42, when she has a man like you, age 40, and still is looking around, serves her right to go and just sleep around with little jackasses who don't know what's right, what's left. And she will come to her senses, but that's not the time for you to reconcile with her, because she's already proven she cannot be loyal and logical and act her age. She's going to fuck around with a 27-year-old at age 42, and she thinks it's a romance. She's stupid enough not to see that. That's not the kind of woman that you can build anything. You're 40 years old. You're very young. that's the age that 26-year-olds to 35-year-olds are going to die for you, because that's the age that a man is really whole. He's got experience, he's got a career, he's got some things to offer. And the girls from that age, 26 to 35, they're looking for an experienced man that's still young and strong, and you would have no problem finding a better girl out there who will be loyal to you, and you don't have to put up with this kind of immature behavior like she does. So just live long and prosper and move on to bigger and better things. Anish says, thank you, sir, you're welcome. And I like to hear back from great Jedi Serena to see if she is helped with the comments that I made in regards to her question. And Barbie or Oppenheimer. What? Barbie or Oppenheimer? I don't understand. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. We don't seem to have any other question at the moment, so I'll just warm up my tea. You guys watch this bit for a bit. Watch this bit for a bit, and I'll be right back after station identification. Okay, and we're back. Great Jedi Serena again sends us a super chat. I thank you very much for your generosity, Serena. I appreciate you supporting the channel. And she says, yes, that answers my question. Thank you. You're quite welcome. My pleasure. An ultimate Ranger says, hey, the 1 point, whenever I use the awareness. Okay, before we go on, Ultimate Ranger, could you kindly let me know your gender, age, and where you're tuning in from? Again, that gives me a little bit of info about you culturally when I know where you're tuning in from, age and gender, so I know what level I can interact with you, and so on. So I read your question, and you please furnish me with that information. I'd appreciate it. Says, hey, the one point, whether I use the awareness technique to know which thoughts are fake, you're talking about what we talked about. There is no awareness unless there is a contradiction. And the contradiction between what the suggestion of the brain is and what you're all about creates an awareness of the contradiction. And that's what you're talking about. And so you must have been watching the videos, right? Well, I'm delighted to hear that. And ultimately says, make 18 from Mike or make? Mike 18 from the UK. I'm also the guy who asked the question on the Star Wars theory stream. Lol. Oh, for the, which question? The one I remember. Yeah. The one that you want to see which thought is your thought, which thought is the brain's thought, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And then we talked about the awareness. Yes. Okay. I think I'm there. So male 18 from the UK says, hey, the one point. By the way, my name is right here, Mehran, Mehran. And yes, okay. He says, hey, Mehran, I'm just translating from the one point. Hey, Mehran, whenever I use the awareness technique to know which thoughts are fake, I just end up receiving awareness for a bunch of different thoughts because I'm thinking of having an awareness. Let me understand this. Which thought is fake? I just end up receiving awareness for a bunch of thoughts. You don't receive awareness from a bunch of thoughts. You receive contradiction awareness of a contradiction of bunch of thoughts and your awareness. Your awareness is about who you are. You're aware of who you are. You're aware of your values. You're aware of your standards. You're aware of the principles that you keep sacred in your gatekeeper, in your wise advocate, in your superconsciousness. That's your principles that you go by, you live by. So that what is shaping your awareness in comparison to what the brain is suggesting creates a contradiction. And because of that contradiction, there's an awareness. You become aware that this is not the right choice, is the right thought, is not me. Why you become aware of that? Because of your values create a contradiction between what the brain is suggesting and what you're all about. Therefore, there's an awareness, there's an alarm. You talk about it, you question about it, you say, wow, what is that? What do you mean? How could it be? You're debating. That is as a result of you becoming alarmed that what the brain suggested is not in line with your values. So you become aware of this contradiction. So you're saying that you receive a bunch of these awarenesses, just receiving awareness for a bunch of different thoughts, okay, because I'm thinking of having an awareness. This part I'm missing. I don't really quite understand what you mean. I can guess it, but I don't want to. Could you elaborate on this? Because I'm thinking of having an awareness. See, you're not supposed to be thinking of having awareness. You just have awareness because the thought is contradictory to your values. So it's not that you're thinking about awareness. The awareness is the alarm, is the reaction to the contradiction between the suggestion of the brain and your values that you're keeping sacred in your wise advocate, in your gatekeeper, in your super consciousness. So I guess you got your answer, right? It says, but what if when I am choosing my first value, how do I know whether I'm choosing the value or it's just a thought? You've already done that before HOCD. You weren't born with HOCD. All these values are already there. The way you acted, the way you were, the way everything was before this glitch of the brain, those values are not being chosen now. So your awareness is based on what was already been saved in your consciousness, in your super consciousness, in your gatekeeper, in your wise advocate, where you keep your values sacred. Those sacred values were already shaped your life and were already chosen throughout your life by you. It's there. The fact that you haven't necessarily pinpointed them and written them as some kind of a numbered characteristics doesn't mean that you don't know the values and that the values don't exist. They're there. And the contradiction comes as soon as the brain suggests something that the awareness already knows, oh, that's not me. That's not me. Hey, what's going on? That awareness comes automatically. It doesn't mean that you have to sit down or you were sitting down and you have created your values so you can gauge it against what suggestion is going to be made. Those are already within you. Your values are already set. Your awareness automatically acts against what is not in line with your values. So awareness is not that you have created it fictitiously by choosing certain characteristics and put it in a vault, and then new suggestions are coming in from the brain and you compare it. No, it's already in you, and the awareness takes place when the contradiction between what's in you, what you're all about, and your the suggestion of the brain shows up. I don't know if that made sense to you. I think it should have, because it did make sense to me towards the end. No. It says, what if it was a smaller thought, like what food I like? How would I use value to work out the real thought? Well, you don't rely on the thought for food. Food is not something that you've got 20 choices in front of you. Your mother or somebody, a restaurant there is so many on the menu. Your mother has put some food on table. Your question is either eat it or not eat it. You give me a real example, then we will talk about it. But these examples are not going to help you, because the answer would be so quick and simple that you won't be able to fit it in your questionnaire type of bag that you're looking to fill out. So you're saying, what if it was a smaller thought, like what food I like? How would I use values to work out? Well, I don't necessarily sit down and make a list of the foods that I like, but if a food is put in front of me that it's got shit in it, naturally I know I'm not interested. I don't have to have a list, no food with shit in it. No, but when I see something that my cognitive, my values and understanding is already set for me, what I am willing to eat, what I have eaten, what I won't want to eat, is already clear to me. I don't have to make a list of it, but it will show itself up when there is a difference between what I would accept and what I won't accept. But I don't have to have a list to check against it with what's put on in front of me on table. If it's in front of me, something that is crawling, that's already, I'm not going to have that. If it's a snake, especially uncooked, I'm not going to have that. Even if it's cooked, I'm not sure. So it's not something that you would have to gauge and see if this is in line with my values or not. The awareness automatically does that for you. It's no different than when you take a sharp knife and the brain shows up, put it in your eyes. You don't have to have a list to say, thou shalt not put sharp knife in thy eye. No, you just say, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not going to do that. And you don't even say all that, what I just said. You just said, that's stupid. Or you just don't do it because it's naturally obvious. Many things are obvious to you, but the brain interferes and tries to make it a selection out of so many things that is just outrageous. And you don't have to have a list against, because brain makes thoughts, 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. So it can make choices of 80, 90,000 choices a day. It can make choices of 100 choices when a thought shows up for you to gauge it, see if it's within your values or not. You don't have to do that. You just see if it's something in a nanosecond, is it feasible for you to do or not? For example, if I have a hammer in my hand and the brain says, hit it in your head, well, so I'm not going to do it. I don't have to have a list that thou shalt not hit the hammer on your head. So it's not about checking against a certain list. It's about the logic that you have for life according to your survival and how you protect yourself, that is going to make you make the right decision versus the thought that is showing up that is not in line with your survival, values, and everything else that is out there. For example, how do I know a thought like this pizza is good? Well, you have cognitive abilities. Is it coming from a pizza shop? Does it have a box that it says the pizza shop's name? Was it made by some, I don't know, four-legged animal in the street using his own shit to put on the pizza? Or did it come from a, pizza place, a store? So your brain says it's good. Okay, I'll eat it and see if it's good or not, because there's no harm done. It's not intrusive. We're talking about intrusive thoughts. This pizza is good. It's not intrusive. So if you think a pizza smells good, looks good, it tastes good, okay, it's reasonable. It comes from a pizza shop. It's clean. I don't see dirt or shit on it. Nobody farted on it. It's not chewed up. It's not touched. I'll take a piece. I eat it. And I say, no, brain, you just made something up. You didn't. How do you know it tastes good? I have to taste it. I haven't given the information to the mouth through the apparatus of the mouth to the mechanics of the mouth so the brain can analyze if it's good tasting or not. I didn't do that. So how do you know it tastes good? I'll find out. So look, give me examples that is thought through or it's not going to help you. See, you're now trying to decide which thought is actually right or not by not using your logic to see if the thought actually makes sense. If a brain suggests that this pen, you should eat it, well, you don't have to examine that this is a good thought or not. Is awareness there or not? You just say, it's a pen. I'm not going to eat that. So again, these suggestions, these examples are not really helpful for me to know, to help you, because you're in a glitch of OCD and you're doubting every information that comes to you, even the information that it's so obvious that this is a pizza, so I'll try it and see if it tastes good or not. You don't have to accept whatever the brain says. The question is this: why do you think you have to accept what the brain is, so you want to choose the right suggestion of the brain to accept it? I'm saying you don't have to accept anything from the brain. You see if it's in line with your values, the values that you know, the values that you've lived with. It's automatic. And then you say, well, I'll see. It sounds like it's okay, but let me taste the pizza as well. And then I'll tell you. Because then you have other information coming through your taste buds that says, well, it's too spicy, or if it's good or whatever. But you can't just decide on every thought that is benign, is not intrusive, it's not so easily recognizable. It's just about what, do you want to eat cashew nuts or not? How do I know this is my thought? Well, because it's got no harm. Any thought that is not contradictory, you don't get alarmed, and it's got no harm, and it's useful, like you want to try it because it's something to do with bringing to fruition what you're set out to accomplish, then you may actually take that suggestion because it's going to help you to accomplish what it is that you set out to accomplish. But if it's just out of the blue and says, go to an airplane and jump off the airplane, that's stupid. So listen, at least I got to have a parachute. And Trumer Man says, can someone cure his brain after stopping watching porn, and how long will it last? Yeah, of course. It's not about cure. It's about your choice. You reason with yourself that, look, I've been watching porn all this time, and now I'm kind of insensitive toward women. I don't respect them as much because I look at them as all just fuck. And that's disrespectful. That's not you. That's the conditioning that you have given your brain by constantly looking at some videos that demeans women. And it simply is playing with your pleasure receptors and doesn't let you make judgment about that you're actually having a romantic relationship with a female, and instead it objectifies, and you're just looking at the pleasure of sex by seeing the action of sex. So you're not really paying attention to the character of a woman, for the concept of a woman, interaction with the woman. You're just shorting up, no dating, no knowing each other. Is just about the fucking dick going into pussy. That is the part that you're shortcutting the whole process of romance and bringing it right to where it's supposed to end. But you just jump into the conclusion of it, just sex. And therefore the pleasure receptors gonna fire up, and you're gonna secrete dopamine, because the dopamine is pleasure. And when you're secreting dopamine, which means you're stimulating the synaptic neurons to be stimulated by the pleasure, and since the brain cannot tell the difference between virtuality and actuality, it thinks that it's actually receiving pleasure. So the receptors are charged and they secrete dopamine because they've been stimulated, and stimulated hard and long enough because you're watching porn all the time. So you're stimulating the synaptic neurons hard and often, which what happens here, listen carefully. When you do that, synaptic neurons, the receptors for the pleasure to secrete dopamine, are designed to survive. But when they are stimulated hard and often, they die. They know that. So in order to avoid themselves from dying because they're being stimulated hard and often, they down-regulate. They down-regulate means they become less available to be stimulated. In other words, there will be less receptors available to feel the pleasure of you watching porn. When they down-regulate, it happens when you are getting high on a drug, getting high on an activity that you love, getting high on sugar, getting high on some substance, or getting high on sex. When you're getting high with a substance or some activity or some concept whatsoever, you are stimulating the synaptic neurons to produce dopamine hard and long enough. When you do that, the synaptic neurons for these receptors to secrete dopamine want to survive. To survive, they will downgrade. That means they will be downregulated. That means they become less numbers available to be stimulated. Because if they're stimulated long and hard, as we say, they die. They know that. So they hide. They become less available to be stimulated by the porn or the pleasure that you're engaged in. What happens then? When there are not enough receptors available to give you the same high, what do you have to do to get the same high? Up the drug. You double dose. So in this case, you watch more porn. Why? Because you've been watching porn, stimulating the synaptic neurons, the receptors, and for them to survive, they have downregulated. They have become less number of receptors to be stimulated. When there are less number of receptors to be stimulated, you don't get that pleasure, that level of pleasure from watching porn. So you end up watching more, just like you have to up the drug to get the same high when there's less receptors available. So you watch more porn to get the same high. When you do that, the synaptic neurons, the receptors, they downregulate again because you're still continuing the stimulation. So they downregulate again to become less to survive. When they become less, what do you have to do? Again, you have to up the dose. So you watch more porn. You watch more porn, they downregulate. You watch more porn, they downregulate. They downregulate so much that now, no matter how much porn you get, you don't get the pleasure. You don't get the dopamine that you're looking for. That's when you're addicted. That's when it becomes hard to stop because you now crave it and you don't get the high. Same thing with the drug addicts. When it keeps downregulating, they up the drug, get downregulated, they up the drug, and they downregulate to survive, but you up the drug, it gets to the point there's no more receptors available to give you the secrete the dopamine, and you have to hit it as high as you can, and you get nothing, and you die. In this case, you just can't stop. You think you got to see more to get the same pleasure. Because if you remember the first few times that you watched porn, it was very exciting and but then now you got to watch a lot more and different kinds and so on in order to get the same high. It's not because you're becoming kinkier. It's because you don't get the high. So you think that you got to become kinkier. Then you watch all kinds of things and then you wonder, why am I watching these things? Am I changing in this and that? No. It's because you're trying to reach the same high that you used to get with one or two porn. But the downregulation has made it impossible for you to get the same high. So you keep watching more and more and more porn until to the point that you don't get the pleasure because the dopamine is not being secreted because there is no synaptic neurons or the receptors available to give you the dopamine because they have downregulated to zero. And then now you're addicted. Now you don't know what to do. So you switch to nothing. Just cold turkey. Stop it. Focus on other things. And before you know it, there's a mechanism in the brain, just as you can stimulate the synaptic neurons to build bridges between the two ends of synaptic neurons to pass through the neurotransmitters so they will pass the information. You become good at what you do a lot of. Like if you play piano, and the synaptic neurons create bridges to pass along this neurotransmitters and information how to be a good pianist, and you become better and better as you practice. Remember they used to say practice makes perfect? It actually meant when you practice, synaptic neurons create bridges between the two ends and then help you to become better at playing piano by this ability to pass along the information through the two ends of the synaptic neurons to become good at what you're doing. But just as this works, making you better piano player when you keep practicing, when you stop practicing, it also reverses it and makes you not become good at piano playing. In other words, you forget how good. Why? Because when you stop doing something that you used to do a lot of, like playing piano, the brain has a mechanism that when you sleep, it shrinks up to 60%, and there are cells called glial cells. Glial cells go and check and see which synaptic neurons that have been connected between the two by creating bridges for the information to pass through so you can become good at the piano playing. It says which ones are not active. It sees there's so many of them no longer active because you're not practicing piano. So it marks them with CQ1, a protein called CQ1. And when at nights you sleep and the brain shrinks to 60%, there are other cells called microglial cells. They go and search for CQ1. Wherever they find CQ1 protein, they destroy that. They destroy that bridges between two synaptic neurons. They become free for you to learn other things. So just as you can be good at learning things, the mechanism in the brain, it can also help you to unlearn something. Not be as good in piano if you don't play it long, and they go and they destroy the connections that was made between synaptic neurons to make you a good pianist. So, having said that, when you don't watch porn for a while and focus on other things, before you know it, automatically this habit of watching porn, as much as you're addicted to it, it becomes less and less addictive. You less and less want to watch it because you've been now not doing it, and microglial cells have come and cut that connection of you being so good at wanting and desiring to watch something or do something, piano or porn or whatever. And eventually, these synaptic neurons, which had created that habit in you, they open up and they allow you to use them to become good at something else. That something else could be playing guitar, could be going to the gym, could be reading books. Little by little, you don't have the desire to watch porn because of this is already made available in your system. But you just got to use it and have the willpower to do something else instead of this. And there's a lot more to tell you, but if I turn that into a consultation session, then I can't answer any other question. So although there's a lot more, but you can make an appointment with me at my site and then we'll discuss it one-on-one on Skype. So we have the Roasting Home. It says, hello, sir. My name is Himanshu and I am 18 years old. I'm from India and I have harm OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, but I am working on recovering from it, sir. I want to stay in the present. But my mind keeps wandering. When I listen to hip hop song, my mind creates a fake scenario where I am on a stage singing that song. And a lot of people are cheering for me. It distracts me and I can't focus on my studies. Every time I try to study, my mind tells me to check WhatsApp for messages or see how many people have viewed the Instagram story. Sir, please help me. Well, again, the same thing. When you have an OCD, there's an obsession and there's a compulsion. Let's say you have an OCD for checking the oven before you leave your place, if the oven is off, and you check it and you come back and check it again. Just let me make sure. Same thing, you have a habit to check your Instagram to see how many people watched it. So that's kind of a translation of it, is goal finding. You see, in midbrain basal ganglia, there is a place called the striatum. In the striatum, there are 3 circles right on top of each other. Goal finding center, that's when you actually set out to accomplish something, an intention. Then there's also reward center, which is right underneath it or on top of it. They're connected, they're in the same small circle. And then there is habit center, which is also connected. What I'm trying to say to you is that every time you stimulate one circle, let's say goal finding, at the same time you're stimulating the dopamine center, the reward center. And at the same time you're stimulating the habit center. Let me explain. Every time you want to see your Instagram, it's like the compulsion. It's like the obsession. Let's say the obsession of washing hands. You think your hands are dirty. That's the obsession. The compulsion for it would be to go wash your hands, right? In your case, you want to see how many people have seen your Instagram. So that's the obsession. The compulsion would be to go to WhatsApp or to go to Instagram and check it out. Just as when you have the obsession to my hands are dirty and the compulsion would be wash my hands, when you do wash your hands, how do you feel? That is when actually the reward center has become active and secretes dopamine because you thought it's dirty, uncomfortable. Compulsion tells you go wash your hands. You do the compulsion, you feel relieved. Something good happened. Dopamine is secreted. Now, Instagram, you feel obsession, I gotta go check my Instagram. Compulsion, you go check the Instagram, how many people watched it. When you watch it and do that action of checking, you say, so many people, nice. Or whatever, you've done what you needed to do, which was checking. So dopamine is secreted because you did the action. And you say, Now, lo and behold, every time you do the compulsion to wash your hands and you get the dopamine, so every compulsion stimulates the other circle, which is the reward center, dopamine center. So you're doing the compulsion because you think your hands are dirty, you wash your hands, you feel good, but you're also stimulating the dopamine center when it gives you dopamine. Now, you do that 100 times, no longer you're doing it just for the obsession that the hand is dirty. You're doing the compulsion to get the dopamine because dopamine is addictive. So you check your Instagram because you want to see how many people saw it. But as you do that, dopamine is secreted. So next time, it's not the Instagram that you want to check. It's not how many people are actually watched it that you're really having the compulsion checking out reason for it. You actually feel good after you check it and you say, that many. That's when the dopamine is secreted. So you actually are now doing the check-in on the Instagram to get the dopamine. You don't really care that much anymore. You think you do on the surface. But in reality, what makes you do the checking is because you want to feel that the high, the dopamine, because you've been doing that for hundreds of times. Now you're addicted to the dopamine. And lo and behold, every time you did the compulsion of washing hands, you stimulated the dopamine center, but you also, without your knowledge, stimulating the habit center. That's why after 1,000 times of getting the dopamine, you're no longer doing it for the compulsion, washing your hands, or getting the dopamine. You think you are, but in fact, you don't think about them. You just do it because it's become your habit. You gotta wash your hands and you gotta get that dopamine, but you really are not doing it for that anymore. You're just doing it because you've done it for thousands of times, and you just now do it because it's become your habit. Because the habit center is also in the striatum. It's been stimulated from day one when you start washing your hand as a compulsion to the obsession. So the Instagram business is the same. You've been doing it feeling good because of dopamine release. Now, eventually, it becomes a habit. You no longer you're doing it for dopamine or the compulsion of checking to see how many people. You're actually doing it without your knowledge because it's your habit. It's an automatic. In a study and experience that Professor Anne Grable and her postgraduate study Carl Smith done, they proved that the cluster of movements or actions to the brain is considered one action. For example, Dr. Schwartz explains, if you ask a person who just came out of the store and he went into the store, ordered a pack of cigarette, paid money for it, and opened the cellophane around, cut the part of the packet out, and pulled one cigarette, put it on his lips, and got the lighter 2 inches away from his face, which is unusual to have fire toward your face, and then start smoking. If you ask this person, say, sir, are you aware that you went to a store, you paid money, you got a pack of cigarettes, you took the cellophane off, you took the half of the package off and took one cigarette out, and you flipped the fire 2 inches to your nose? He says, no, I just know that I'm smoking. All that action to this person was just one action, which was smoking. That's when the habit is calling the shots. You don't notice all the stuff that you do. You do it because it's your habit, but you don't notice how many actions you're doing. So you're not really noticing that you're checking this Instagram or whatnot. You're just doing one thing, and that is getting the habit done. That's all you're focused on. I have a habit. I got to check that. You don't care if it's the dopamine or whatever. It's now become a habit. You don't even think about it. So now you got to focus. In order to get rid of it, you got to focus on the hazards of this habit, which stops you from studying. You're going to get a bad grade. You're not going to get a good job. And they're not going to give you a good wife because you have no money. So if you focus on the hazards and the things, the derogatory effects of this habit that you now have, checking your Instagram all the time, then it helps you for your survival instinct, that it's going to be detrimental to your well-being as far as success and having the things you want, and the house and the rent and the money that you want, and getting a good wife and all that. Because, it's especially in India, it's all caste and all that. And you got to have some money in order to accept you if it's a similar kind of a class of family. So if you focus on all these, you'll say, well, that's not worth it that much to affect me that much in my life. So I'm going to stop this porn watching, stop this Instagram watching, stop this, that, whatnot, because it's going to affect you negatively, either through your health, if it's cigarette smoking, for example, or through your future ability to provide for yourself, for your wife, and cutting down the chances that you want to have to be a more successful man in everything that you want. So you got to connect it to that, then you'll be able to get on with it and endure not doing what you don't want to do. Yes. 1XX says, hello, sir. I get repetitive scenarios in HOCD. Sometimes I can't control it. You never can control it. You can't control thoughts because it's not you. It's not yours to control. It's not made by you to be controlling it. You should stop controlling thoughts. Let the fucker do whatever the hell he wants to suggest or image or do. You just focus on what you're doing. The brain is doing its thing. It's not up to you to interfere with the brains or teach you the lesson or whatnot. It's a fuck up organ. It's malfunctioning. So let it do its thing, but understand that it's not you. It's separate from you. It's not connected to you. You're not responsible for it. It's a different entity. You just use it for doing some math and figuring out things and, learning something or inventing something or marketing something or all these things. You use the apparatus of the brain. But the brain is not you. So when it conjures up intrusive thoughts of any kind, doesn't matter. It's not you. Let it do. Don't try to stop it, destroy it, argue with it. It's just a malfunctioning machine. You focus on what it is that you want to focus and accomplish. And on that note, you don't have to control anything. You're never in control of the brain's thoughts. Thoughts come and go. It's like you go to a bazaar and you see so many stores out there, but you pass by every one of them because you don't want to buy what they're selling. You're looking for a specific thing, store, to buy something that you're looking for. So you keep passing by all the stores, even though they're there, but you accept and allow them to be there. You don't say, I'm not looking for you, so you shouldn't be here. You should get out of here. This store should be closed because I don't want to buy something that you have to sell. I'm looking for something else. Well, you don't do that. You just pass by because you've got no business with them. You go until you find the store that carries what product you want. Same thing. Brain is like a bazaar. Let it produce whatever the hell it produces. You don't have any need for it. You don't find it in line with your values. You pass it by. You focus on other things that you want to focus and accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish, rather than worrying about controlling these thoughts not to be there. It shouldn't be here because I have no use for it. It's not in line with my values, so it shouldn't even be here. Like it's telling the store that you shouldn't be here because I don't want to buy what you're selling. No, it just passed by. You can't control anything. Don't try to control anything. You can control your brain as much as you can control somebody else's opinion or values or utterings or talking or whatever they're eating or their lifestyle. You can't control them. It's a separate entity. Just as you cannot control what other people are doing or saying in the street, you can't control what the brain wants to say. Let it say. You just worry about what it is that you're interested in and focus on that. And the brain gets the idea that you're not paying attention to what it suggests or thinks and utters. You're just doing your own thing and it's being ignored. Not controlled or stopped or guided, just ignored because you're focusing on whatever it is that you're focusing. And before you know it, the brain understands that, I can't get energy and interaction with him from him if I'm doing these sort of thoughts and spitting him out and lingering it in his mind, in his brain. He doesn't pay attention. It gets the signal through your behavior and reaction towards the intrusive thoughts, and it diminishes them because it says it gets no rise out of you. It gets no energy, interaction, or argument from you, which is the interaction. Brain wants to be counted as if it exists. So it tries to come up with all kind of cockamamie stuff to make you pay attention to it and take it as an entity and talk with it. And in that way, it gets stronger and it learns to continue that train of thoughts. But if you don't pay attention to it, it would be like the crazy person in the street that every time you pass by says something. When you turn around and answer it, it will argue with you. You will argue with it. But if you just hear what it says and pass by, after a while, when you pass by, it doesn't say anything because this guy is not going to pay attention. It's wasting my breath. Same thing with the brain. All right, let's stop this because this is not a subject that could finish with just 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and I don't want to turn this into a live, consulting session. If you guys want to talk about these sort of things or anything else that could be concerning you, go on my site, mind@seekstruth.com, make an appointment, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Ultimate Ranger says, if the pizza is from a well-known pizza shop and doesn't make me sick, does it mean I like the pizza and it's good? No, many things don't make you sick, but doesn't mean you like them. I mean, you can have a frog and it's been cooked, or you can have a snake and it's killed, And if you eat it, if it's cleaned and it's not spoiled, it may not make you sick, but doesn't mean you like it. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that if a thought shows up and it's a well-known pizza shop, meaning it's your brain that you consider it well-known, but the brain is already in the glitch of OCD malfunction. You cannot rely on the brain that is creating intrusive thoughts. A brain that is in glitch of OCD and is creating intrusive thoughts that are not in line with your value is malfunctioning. You can't use the same malfunctioning brain to gauge the quality of the thought that it has produced to say, because I know the brain, it's mine, therefore what it produces is also credible. No, it can produce all kind of shit. So don't fool yourself by putting the pizza story in here and expect me to say, yeah, then you will like it because it's come from a reputable store. No, your brain is reputable to you because it's mounted on your head and you feel you're reputable. So what's mounted on part of your body or your existence must be reputable as well. No, because brain is not a apparatus that you're controlling. It is an independent system. So what it does is not on you and it cannot benefit from your credibility as a human being. It has its own glitches. And when it's in a glitch, you cannot rely on it that what it suggests is something that you would like, even though it's not going to make you sick or you're not going to get hurt by doing what it says or by paying attention to what it says. So don't play that trick. If you are, I'm not sure, but if you just try to hide your real intention and make a pizza for me to say that if it doesn't make you sick, that means you like it. No, it's not true. Many things that you may eat will not make you sick, but it doesn't mean you like it either. There are lots of things. Lots of things. Anchovies doesn't make you sick if it's on the pizza, but doesn't mean you like it. I don't like it. I don't like anchovy on pizza. So the answer is no. You always gauge it on your knowledge about the quality of the pizza, not just where it's come from, also if it's smelling good, if its ingredients on it is according to your liking, your taste, and then accumulation of it, all togetherness of it, the groupage of it, that is all the kind of things that you could tolerate and you like. Then the pizza, if it's made well, you may like it. Not that it's coming from reputable pizza place and because it's not going to make you sick, so that means you like it. No, lots of things don't make me sick, but I don't like them. As I told you, you already know the ingredients that you like. If those ingredients that you like are used to make the pizza and the pizza is cooked well and it's got all the other standards observed, then you taste it in case if it has too much spice or too much salt, because you can't see that from the face of the pizza. Then you make a decision. You use all your senses, cognitive, knowing what's in it and checking it against what things, ingredients you like or you don't like. Visualize if it's burned or not, if it's cooked or not, and then rely on your taste buds to give you all full information. Then you know if it's, you like it or not. But before you taste it, you pretty much have a great idea that no, that's not for me, because I can see it's not cooked well, or it's overcooked, or smells funny, or the ingredients are in it are not what I like, or the ingredients are okay, I like them individually, but not together as a combination, or ingredients are okay and I like them individually even as a combination, but I don't know if they're spoiled or not, and they used old ingredients in there or not. So there's so many things that you have to consider. You can't just take a blanket idea on that. So you need to stop judging these thoughts, what's good, what's bad. Just live by your choices and vetoes, regardless of what thoughts shows up. Instead of evaluating the thought, just evaluate if this thought is any use to you or not, rather than the thought on its own, if it's got merit or not. Stop judging the thoughts when you don't have any use for it. Let them come and go. You just focus on whatever it is that you need to focus to accomplish your day and whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Sep Paro says, hello, Mehran. Sep from France. Bonsoir or bonjour, monsieur. Comment ça va aujourd'hui? So it's been a long time, Sep. I hardly remember your screen name. And the roasting home says, sir, I want to earn money, but I am lazy. I procrastinate a lot. What is the solution? The solution is stop being lazy. How? By focusing that if you like to be sitting at your parents' home for the rest of your life, or you like to have a place on your own, pay your own rent and have your own girlfriend and buy your own car and have the things that you like to do, have the freedom and permission to be independent. For all that, you need money. And for money, you need to work. Maybe for some work, you need education. So finish your school, focus on your studying, then graduate or go find a job and be good at your job, learn the job well, be conscientious, be on time and persevere and continue to get to higher levels and make more money and more money and more money so you can now translate having money to the things that you want to have in life: comfort, house, rent, food. Food is not a bad idea. Car, some good clothing, so you can ask a girl out, she wouldn't think you're a hobo. So these translate why money could be of use to you, an assistant to you. You can help your parents if they need. You can pay your rent. You can have good food. You can have clean water. You can take your girlfriend out. You can pay for it. Be a man and look good about it. Dress yourself nice. So if you translate what it does for you, which it cannot do it without you getting off your ass and going working, not being lazy, then you will have motivation and understanding, not just motivation, understanding why is it important for me to have money. When you reason with yourself that way, then you know why, and then you will be motivated. Okay, guys, it's 2 hours and 37 minutes after we started. I think it's time for me to end our live stream and say I thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon. کسکش گوش. کسخل دیوانه. دیوانه. کسخل دار کس دیوانه. مثبت کن.